Welcome to the ongoing study of Christian Kabbalah through the book Cosmic Christ, a Gnostic Christian Kabbalah. Last time we stopped at speaking about how the Christ consciousness is a non-dualistic frequency to get on. Now we're going to continue. As before, I am only about a little over 100 pages in. The book is over 400 pages. Going through the book, I figured out that every person is their own universe, just as the different Sephirot contain the names of angels, depending upon what aspect of the Kabbalah you work in. It may have angels. Just like the Tree of Death has the name of different quote-unquote demons. And those are their own personal worlds or universes. Each person also has their own universe, since we are co-creators in this whole thing that we call existence. So our universes tend to overlap. And when our souls reincarnate as something different, our universes that we represent also evolve. So it's kind of like if we become more positive people, then we begin to see more positivity in our worlds. And so this is the goal that we strive for when we seek the Christ consciousness. Now, the first Sephirah that the book talks about, that it actually goes into, is Keter, which is the one at the top, which is the one closest to divinity. And I was able to access that. And through my experiences, I would say that when you tap into it, it's like having something grab you by the crown of your head and snatch you upwards. And you feel a sensation of being suspended and elevated through the air. As you rise, you encounter gatekeepers. These gatekeepers seem to be testing you to make sure that you either belong connected to Keter, or either to keep you from being connected to Keter. I don't know what these gatekeepers are, if they're angels or if they're archons. I couldn't identify them. But one voice I encountered told me it was going to drain me of all my energy. But I knew that would be impossible, because Keter is a source of infinite energy. And if I was attached to that, then there was no way that it was able to do that. And that seemed to make that gatekeeper or tester go away. Another voice appeared like a text being typed out on a Kindle paper screen. The text had a fatherly tone to it that was giving advice. And I don't remember everything that it said, but I do remember one line that explained that too much love is toxic. And I was kind of pondering over that, because it was strange, because, in the Bible, it talks about how God is love and how we need to express love towards everybody. But as I pondered over that, meditated over it, it was revealed to me that what it meant. And so the message that came to me is, never love anything so much that losing it causes you to feel negativity about the rest of creation. So that was how I came to understand it. As we continued through the book, I found out that the highest parts of a lower dimension are the lowest parts of a higher dimension. And because of this overlapping, we are capable of interaction with higher and lower beings. So, like how they talk about the rapture, and they say that people will disappear and be taken up into the air. That's not my understanding of the rapture. My understanding of the rapture is more like, as you go into the higher dimensions spiritually, people are not going to recognize you as being part of their world because you don't have their mindset. So even though they can see you and interact with you, they're still not going to recognize you or accept you because you don't talk like them, you don't walk like them, you don't act like them. And that's the higher dimensions that are interacting with the lower dimensions. In the book, it talks about how there are multiple trees, and multiple trees are connected, but for the sake of simplicity, we only go through, well, it only describes one tree. But I do have a scripture here at John 14, verse 2, that may help to expand on the subject. Give me a sec here, I'm turning. John. Okay. John 14:2, where it says, "In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you?" Okay. So, this would talk about, to me, the scripture is referring to the different dimensions that God has created, his whole creation, in my understanding, would be this mansion. And the many rooms would be the many dimensions and the many worlds that are in existence simultaneously. The next Sephirah was Da'at, or Da'at, however you want to call it. Initially, I had reservations because Da'at is the Sephirah that's known as the Abyss. And when I went through the Abyss, when I traveled through the Tree of Knowledge or the Tree of Death, even though the experience being in it wasn't unpleasant, my life here kind of fell apart and became more difficult. But since I went through the Abyss and went through the trials, I decided to just go ahead, experience it. And so I did invoke the energy and talk to entities that were inside that Sephirah. So, let's see. The book also states that Dot reflects the soul, and if there are any issues with your shadow self not taken care of, they will manifest in Dot. Now, there is a danger to going to the Sephirah prematurely, because it says that you can get stuck. It can actually intensify any negativity that you have within yourself, which means that you have to work through your shadow self and be confident that you have overcome your issues for the most part before going to visit the Abyss, because it's going to reflect everything negative right back at you to test you. If you don't have anything and you've integrated your shadow and you've come to accept it, then you'll be good. So I was a little bit hesitant to see if there were any outstanding issues despite my years of doing shadow work, but I actually did okay. And when I invoke Dot, I invoke the monad first, and the monad is supposed to be another face of God or the Creator. And I asked if I could be brought to a Dot to be given the wisdom that it had for me. So the first thing I experienced were the rays of a black sun in a world of gray. And then, let's see, I saw a world of eternal night. That's when Tess manifested to see if I could be angered or upset. But when the test manifested, I had like this vision of a hieroglyph of a woman inside of and in front of, inside and in front of a man that appeared, and I felt peace wash over me. And in this hieroglyph, the man represented myself, and the woman was wisdom, and wisdom was inside of me and outside of me. And this actually made a lot of sense, because when you have wisdom, it keeps you from falling into trouble and danger, and it also protects you within. So let's just go to Proverbs chapter 4 verse 6, just to make my point clearer. Proverbs 4 verse 6 says, "Do not forsake her." This is talking about wisdom. "And she will keep you. Love her, and she will guard you." So this is showing that wisdom is a feminine aspect. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7:12. Ecclesiastes chapter 7:12. "For the protection of wisdom is like the protection of money, and the advantage of knowledge is that wisdom gives life to one who possesses it." All right. So wisdom is what you need to both protect you throughout your life as well as protect you spiritually. And when I was in the abyss, especially this time, wisdom was protecting me and guiding me. So the chapter on Dot goes over the ritual of the Kabbalistic cross. And when I performed it, I can definitely feel like an energetic current go through me. And the book says that it can be used to open and close rituals. If you're looking for insight before study, you might invoke the Kabbalistic cross. Before meditation, you might invoke the cross. Prayer. Also, if you want to get centered or grounded, you can invoke the cross. And it goes through the steps of invoking the cross. You can also find the steps of invoking the Kabbalistic cross on YouTube. There are many examples if you want to see something visual. What was also mentioned is the upper room meditation. That is effective for getting inspirational messages and energizing oneself. I've also performed the upper room meditation, and I was given this vision where somebody close to me needed protection and asked for protection. And later on, I didn't quite understand why they would need protection, but then later on they came to me and talked to me about a situation, in reality came to me. Reality as we think of it. And they told me that they were kind of in a rough spot. So it all made sense why they needed protection. They needed my support and help. And that's really what divine magic is all about. It's all about, once you have what you need spiritually and you become strong spiritually, we're supposed to give our brothers and sisters, our friends and our family and those around us, our neighbors, a way up. We're supposed to give them encouragement, protection, and help them tap into the Christ consciousness. So I created a ritual template where I would kind of think of the different steps that I would go through, certain things I'd want to do. So like I would invoke the Kabbalistic cross, and then invoke the monad and ask for both outer manifestation as well as understanding. And then if I was going to invoke the energy of a Sephirah, then I would invoke the chosen Sephirah, or I would start the upper room meditation, or I would start my reading and study. And then I would also close with the invocation of the Kabbalistic cross in order to ground myself. And those steps work pretty well. Now, I kind of touched on it a few minutes before, where the book specifically states that the aim of divine magic is to enlighten and liberate. Right? This is not about getting power for the sake of power. This is not about getting materials or getting rich. Like, those things will come to you. You know, what you need will come to you if you're doing what is needed. But this is specifically to enlighten you so that you learn the truth, so that you can liberate yourself from the burden of the lies that have been presented to us as fact. Let's go to John 8:32. I'm going there right now. John 8, and I'm looking for verse 32. Okay, so 8 and 32 says, "And you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free." All right, so that's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to do, speaking to you. And the truth is going to be slightly different for everybody. Slightly, maybe drastically different. But it's all about researching and educating yourself in order to find that truth and aligning yourself with that truth. But another thing is that it's not just human beings that need enlightening and liberating. Even spirits that we work with require enlightenment and liberation. Just as we learn from them, they learn from us. And they also need encouragement as well. And it may sound strange, but the Bible talks about how the angels are watching us out of curiosity. And then when I was speaking with Jesus, I was asking him how he approached demons and whether he talked to demons on a regular basis. And he said yes. But what he does is he approaches them with love and the hope that they can be redeemed. But also said that one should be careful when dealing with demons. It's not a sin to talk to them and get information from them. However, they all have their own ambitions, and sometimes their ambitions may not line up with our goals. So we have to be careful about how we deal with them. All right, so the next Sephirah is the Sephirah of Chokmah. And in the book, it talks about how Ratziel is the angel that kind of rules over Chokmah, which is divine wisdom. And if you want to learn about Chokmah, then it's good to invoke the specific angel. And that's what I did. And so, Ratziel means the secret of God. And so, Ratziel comes off as neutral and to the point when speaking about things. So it's like he, and I say he, like there was no real gender to the voice when interacting with the voice, but we'll say he for the sake of he. He states that there are two ways to understand Hakma. The first is extremely dangerous, and so I'm not going to really explain that or go into that because I don't want to put people in danger. Because that specific way is a danger to one's sanity. But the second method is to attune yourself to all the Sephiroth and allow their power to attune you to Hakma. So you have to go through all the Sephiroth in order to get into this divine wisdom and understand the secrets of divine wisdom. There's a lot going on. This method can take a lifetime, according to the angel. And the angel said that this second method would be more difficult. I chose the second method because, one, I wanted to keep my sanity intact and not take any shortcuts and not take any unnecessary risks. And I also told the angel that I sought to do this to use my progress as a method of teaching others. So, but Ratziel warned me, even though he said that was a good thing. He said that as I progressed, the number of people I'd be able to successfully teach would dwindle, but that I shouldn't be discouraged. He stated that experiencing the secrets of Hakma would be different for each individual, and that those secrets can't be encompassed in one or a few statements. Because I was, like I had invoked Ratziel and said, hey, can you tell me about the secrets of Hakma? And he was kind of like, I can give you hints, but I can't give you a specific statement where you would just understand. So then, unlike many entities, he kind of dismissed himself. He said, do you have any other questions? I said no, and then he was like, okay, I'm going. Disappeared. I didn't I didn't have to send him on his way or anything. But it makes sense that it would take time in order to achieve the wisdom of Hakma. Because in the Ethiopian Bible at Job 12:12, it says, with aged men is wisdom, and with women, of course. So, wisdom is not just having knowledge, but also having experience and understanding how to apply the knowledge according to your experiences. So one has to live life. One has to experience time in order to get wisdom. And so just remember, when you go for this, never try to rush anything. Just enjoy the journey and realize that it's not just about the goal. It's also about the journey. So, that's all I have for now. I'm going to stop right there to give you something to meditate over. And it's actually a lot to deal with, a lot of information. So, as I continue to learn more about the different Sephiroth and about Christian Kabbalah, I will definitely tell you about my experiences, and hopefully you can be encouraged to seek out spiritual things. You don't necessarily have to follow my path. You don't have to take my word as gospel truth. But for those who are seeking spirit, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to encourage you to do that and hopefully give you some inspiration. So if you like the content that I bring to you, definitely subscribe and share. Subscribe. And leave comments below, about the things that you maybe are thinking about, your experiences, or just whatever you're inspired to talk about after you heard these videos and seen these videos. So I hope everybody is having a good day or night, and I hope everybody's progressing well, and I'll talk to you again. This is Zero Hagathos with Theosophy and Beyond, signing out.